book on what this was likely based on and how it doesn't match up to what Meghan said. Here's the clip, SOT 6, from the Oprah interview.
In those months when I was...
Picture this. Royal watchers are buzzing, tabloids are foaming, and Meghan Markle is pacing the halls of her California mansion like a queen without a throne. The storm she thought would never touch her carefully polished world has arrived, pounding at her front door with the force of 1,000 headlines. For years, Meghan controlled the narrative. Netflix specials, Oprah interviews, glossy PR campaigns. Every tear, every truth was rehearsed and served on a silver platter. But then, boom. A defamation ruling in the UK dropped like a thunderclap, shaking the ground beneath her designer heels. Overnight, every word, every accusation, every glamorous sit-down became potential evidence against her. Forget sympathy, this time the law is watching. And trust me, Meghan's enemies are circling. Enter Tom Bower. The man doesn't mince words, doesn't play favorites, and absolutely doesn't hand Meghan Markle free passes. He's the royal biographer who has stalked her rise and her unraveling with chilling precision. And on national television, he dropped a bombshell that froze Meghan's fan base in shock. According to Bower, Meghan should be terrified because this ruling isn't just a legal technicality. No, darling, it's the crack in the glass castle Meghan built, and it's starting to shatter.
Pregnant all around this same time. So we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title.
Why is Bower so certain? Because now, high-profile figures, those who thrive on headlines, talk shows, and docuseries, are legally accountable for their words. Meghan's entire empire has been built on her truth. Her claims of being silenced, bullied, shut out by the royals, suddenly all of it can be dragged into court and picked apart, line by line, word by word. Imagine Meghan sitting in the witness box while lawyers dissect her Oprah interview. That carefully staged evening in March 2021, marketed as her moment of liberation, now it looks more like Exhibit A.
And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
And
remember the tears, the pauses, the dramatic revelations? Critics did, and they spotted glaring contradictions. Meghan claimed Archie was denied a title because of race. Constitutional experts later clarified, wrong. As the Queen's great-grandchild at the time, Archie was simply not eligible yet. It wasn't racism, it was royal protocol. And then there was Meghan's claim she was trapped, unable to leave, stripped of her passport. Sounds heartbreaking until flight logs proved she was jet-setting across the globe. Under this new ruling, those inconsistencies don't look like innocent slips. They look like false accusations broadcast worldwide. And false accusations? That's the textbook definition of defamation.
Who is having that conversation with you? What?
And oh, it gets juicier. Flash forward to 2022, Harry and Meghan's $100 million Netflix deal. Their docuseries was hyped as raw, intimate, their ultimate truth. Instead, it flopped into controversy. Historians tore apart their revisionist history. Journalists pointed out the recycled paparazzi clips, footage of hounded celebrities, repurposed to make it look like Meghan was under siege.
so,
There is a conversation. Hold up.
There are
Stop
several
right now.
there are several conversations.
There's a
about it.
conversation.
Even Meghan's allies began whispering, if you have to fake the footage, maybe the story itself doesn't hold up. And here's the kicker. Inside a courtroom, artistic license doesn't fly. Manipulated clips can be seen as deliberate deceit. That's not just bad optics, that's evidence. Netflix thought they signed up for a blockbuster. Instead, they may be dragged into a courtroom drama they never asked for. But wait, the Meghan-Harry media machine didn't stop there. Enter Spare, Harry's confessional memoir dripping with rage, heartbreak, and betrayal. Sure, Harry's name is on the cover, but behind the scenes, Meghan's fingerprints are everywhere. Sources whisper she pushed for the juiciest, most explosive claims. The problem? Many don't hold up under scrutiny. Harry painted Camilla as a scheming villain, accused William of violence, and served up stories that reporters say never happened. And now? Courts could ask the ultimate question, was Meghan pulling the strings? If Spare is viewed as part of her narrative empire, Meghan herself could be dragged into the mud of its most damaging exaggerations. And if that wasn't messy enough, here comes the family drama no PR team can spin.
Signed away their credibility and their dignity.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied.
Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister, the woman Meghan once erased on live TV by insisting she grew up as an only child. That single statement ripped Samantha's identity apart, painting her as a fame-hungry outsider. For years, Meghan brushed it off as her perspective. But now, under this legal precedent, it looks like a smear that destroyed Samantha's reputation. Her lawsuit just got a surge of energy, and Meghan might soon find herself cross-examined about her own childhood by her own family.
To Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
Very interesting, actually. I don't know if you saw this from Tina Brown, who was, of course, one of the last...
The result? Meghan is cornered. Every glamorous headline she once used to build her image could be weaponized against her. And we're just scratching the surface. Because what's waiting in part 2 is even darker. Thomas Markle's looming testimony, Meghan's only child fabrication crumbling, Hollywood allies slamming doors, the royal family's icy silence, and the looming collapse of Meghan Markle Incorporated. Stay tuned, because if you think Meghan's reputation is crumbling now, what's coming next could obliterate it entirely.
To see Diana before her death, she said the Duke and the Duchess are poor by Hollywood standards. This was at the Henley Literary Festival, and she branded the couple D-list celebrities and said in Montecito their $14 million mansion is a humble cottage compared to what these other people have. And she added,
Now picture this, Meghan Markle sitting in court, and across from her, none other than Thomas Markle, her estranged father, ready to testify under oath. For years, he's claimed Meghan spun lies about their relationship, painting him as the absentee dad while she weaponized his image to boost her victim narrative. But in court, no glossy editing, no PR spin, no Netflix producers cropping the angles, just raw testimony, emails, texts, receipts. And that's Meghan's nightmare, because unlike a magazine spread where she controls the script, a courtroom doesn't care about fairy tales. Every word will be weighed, every contradiction exposed. The Meghan who once dazzled the world as a fairy tale bride could instead be unmasked as the daughter who severed family ties to climb the Hollywood ladder. Then there's the infamous only child claim. Meghan told the world she grew up alone, implying she had no real siblings. It sounded harmless at first, maybe even relatable. But the reality? She does have siblings. They lived with her. They exist, they speak, they remember. So why erase them? Critics say it was calculated, a clever twist to sell her story of isolation and rejection. After all, an only child who craves love makes for a perfect narrative when marrying a prince. But Samantha Markle isn't staying silent. She has photos, documents, and witnesses who stand ready to prove otherwise. And under this new legal precedent, that claim doesn't look like a personal memory. It looks like a public lie with devastating consequences. If a court rules against Meghan, the fallout isn't just emotional, it's financial. Samantha's lawsuit could bleed Meghan dry with penalties that slice directly into her brand empire. And speaking of empire, what a fall it's been. Remember when Meghan and Harry landed in California? They were treated like Hollywood's crown jewels. Oprah ushered them into her rose garden. Tyler Perry gave them a mansion. Netflix threw $100 million their way. Hollywood couldn't get enough. But now, silence. Deafening silence. Oprah hasn't rushed to defend her. The Obamas snubbed her birthday power summit. Even the Kardashians, famous for embracing any publicity, haven't pulled Meghan into their inner circle. Why? Because Hollywood runs on one principle: protect the brand. And right now, Meghan is toxic. When lawsuits swirl, allies scatter. What Meghan thought was her A-list safety net is quickly unraveling into a string of closed doors. No one wants to be collateral damage in the Markle legal circus. And then, lurking in the background, the royal family. For years, Meghan and Harry lobbed accusations like grenades, racism, cruelty, neglect. The Oprah interview painted the monarchy as villains. The Netflix series accused them of cold indifference. And what did the royals do? Nothing. Silence. Just one measured line from the late Queen. Recollections may vary. At the time, it felt passive, but now it looks strategic. Because here's the truth, the palace didn't need to fight. Meghan's words are unraveling all by themselves. Every tearful interview, every truth bomb, every accusation, those very words are now seeds of her undoing. The monarchy's revenge is quiet, patient, and devastating. Meghan doesn't need to be taken down by the firm. She's doing it to herself. And now the brand, the very foundation of Markle Incorporated, is trembling. Meghan isn't just a woman, she's a business. The podcasts, the fashion deals, the Netflix contracts, the charity ventures, everything depends on one thing, her credibility. But what happens when your spokesperson is branded a liar? What happens when your image collapses under the weight of lawsuits and contradictions? Here's what happens. Brands retreat, investors vanish, streaming giants slash contracts. Netflix already trimmed their Sussex deal. Spotify walked away. Even Archewell, the Sussex's passion project, risks being contaminated by association, because when credibility crumbles, everything attached to it collapses. And in Meghan's case, collapse won't be gradual. It'll be catastrophic. Let's pause and recap this avalanche. Tom Bower's chilling warning. The Oprah truths exposed. Netflix manipulation debunked. Harry's memoir branded a liability. Samantha's lawsuit reignited. Thomas Markle's testimony looming. The only child fabrication collapsing. Hollywood allies vanishing. The royals' icy silence. And the Markle brand teetering on total implosion. This isn't just a media backlash. This is the makings of a reputational apocalypse. Meghan thought she could outtalk the palace, outmaneuver Hollywood, and outsmart the press. But now the truth is catching up, and this time, the world won't be so forgiving. The burning question is no longer, will Meghan survive the scandal? No, darling, it's much darker than that. The real question is, when the dust settles, will Meghan Markle even have a brand left to defend? By now, the whispers have become roars. Meghan Markle isn't just facing criticism anymore, she's staring down what could become the most spectacular collapse of a modern celebrity empire. And here's the gut punch. It's not because of palace plots or tabloid conspiracies, it's because Meghan's own words, the very weapons she once used to win hearts and headlines, have turned against her. Think about it. Meghan once sold herself as the underdog, trapped, voiceless, misunderstood. It was a story that worked. It hooked Oprah. It charmed Netflix. It convinced millions. But now that story is cracking under the harsh light of evidence, and when the narrative falls apart, so does everything built upon it. Let's look at Hollywood first. Meghan used to glide through LA circles, sipping champagne in sun-drenched gardens, embraced by the very elites she once claimed never understood her. But Hollywood is brutal. The same crowd that worships you on Monday will ghost you on Friday. And right now, Meghan is learning that lesson the hard way. Oprah? Silent. The Obamas? Keeping their distance. The Kardashians? Not a peep. Why? Because attaching your name to Meghan Markle no longer screams glamour. It screams liability. Hollywood isn't about loyalty, it's about image. And if Meghan is viewed as a walking lawsuit, she becomes radioactive. One insider reportedly summed it up perfectly. She's not an asset anymore. She's a risk, and risks get cut loose. Now what about the royals? For years, Meghan and Harry tried to paint the monarchy as their ultimate enemy, a cold institution that drove them out. They weaponized racism allegations, mental health struggles, and stories of isolation. The world listened. The palace didn't respond. Critics thought silence meant weakness. But hindsight is brutal. That silence was strategy, because now Meghan's every word is catching fire. And the palace doesn't need to lift a finger. They don't need to sue. They don't need to issue statements. All they have to do is watch. Meghan is crumbling under the weight of her own narrative. The monarchy doesn't need revenge, it just needed patience. And patience is delivering more damage than any royal decree ever could. But let's not forget the personal angle. The father she cast aside, Thomas Markle, waiting in the wings to testify. The sister she erased, Samantha, armed with lawsuits and receipts. These aren't faceless critics. These are blood relatives, people who know her past, her childhood, her contradictions. And that makes them far more dangerous than any tabloid. Because in court, family ties come with credibility, and Meghan could be forced to battle her own flesh and blood under oath. Now imagine the scene. Meghan walks into court dressed to perfection, every inch of her rehearsed. Cameras flash outside. Inside, however, it's not Vogue or Netflix, it's cross-examination. No soft questions, no scripted edits, just sharp legal blades cutting into her every contradiction. The truth she built could collapse in real time with the world watching. And then comes the financial fallout. Meghan isn't just a person, she's a brand. Archewell, fashion partnerships, Netflix contracts, it's all built on image. And brands hate one thing above all: unpredictability. If Meghan is legally vulnerable, if her truth collapses, then every investor, every partner, every sponsor asks the same question. Why risk it? Netflix already clipped their wings. Spotify walked away mid-flight. Other deals are stalling in silence. Even Archewell, once pitched as the Sussex's grand legacy, now looks fragile because no one wants to donate, invest, or collaborate with a brand drowning in scandal. Meghan built Markle Incorporated on trust and relatability. But what happens when courts label her unreliable? When every headline screams contradiction instead of compassion? The brand doesn't just stumble, it implodes. And here's the scariest part for Meghan. Collapse doesn't take years. In Hollywood, in business, in reputation, it happens overnight. One ruling, one damaging testimony, one courtroom soundbite can set fire to an empire, and Meghan knows it. That's why Tom Bower's warning isn't just analysis, it's prophecy. So where does that leave Meghan Markle? Cornered, surrounded, watching the empire she built tremble like glass in an earthquake. Every headline that once glorified her now haunts her. Every interview that once painted her as brave now risks being replayed as evidence of deceit. Every tear that once earned sympathy now drips with suspicion. Let's recap the fallout because it's staggering. Tom Bower's chilling warning ripping the mask off Meghan's media machine. Oprah's glossy truth riddled with contradictions. Netflix footage exposed as manipulative. Spare, Harry's memoir, casting a shadow of lies Meghan may have fueled. Samantha Markle's lawsuit rising from the ashes sharper than ever. Thomas Markle's testimony hanging like a sword above Meghan's head. The only child fabrication debunked with hard evidence. Hollywood elites, once allies, now slamming doors. The royal family's cold, calculated silence. And finally, the looming implosion of Markle Incorporated. This isn't a scandal Meghan can outtalk. This isn't a feud she can reframe. This isn't a headline she can spin. This is legal, brutal, and inescapable. For the first time, Meghan isn't controlling the narrative is controlling her. So here we are, Meghan Markle, once the world's fairy tale rebel, now standing on the edge of reputational ruin. She thought she could outwit the palace, outshine Hollywood, and outmaneuver the press. But the truth, cold, sharp, and merciless, is catching up. And the question is no longer whether Meghan Markle survives the storm. The real question is, when this storm finally passes, will Meghan Markle even have a brand left to defend?